Today, we're diving straight into the strange, slick, and unpredictable career of James Spader, how he built his name by breaking expectations, why he's always hovered just outside the mainstream spotlight, and what keeps pulling him toward characters who live deep in the gray zone between right and wrong. We're also checking in on where this famously private actor stands now, so let's fade to black and roll right into it. James Todd Spader was born in Boston in 1960, raised by two teachers, and yeah, that detail actually matters. Growing up in a home where ideas carried weight and conversations weren't surface level gave Spader a sharp, thinking man edge early on. He wasn't just memorizing lines, he was learning how to analyze people. He later landed at Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts, one of those elite prep schools designed to quietly funnel students into Ivy League power lanes. This was the kind of place that promised influence, prestige, and a smooth, polished future if you followed the rules. Everything about Spader's life was lined up perfectly for that path, until he completely walked away from it. At just 17 years old, Spader dropped out and moved to New York to chase acting full-time. No safety net, no fancy backup plan, just raw ambition and a need to do things his way.
Friends are always a strange group of characters, and I've always been attracted towards the stranger the better in my book.
He cut ties with the clean, pre-approved future laid out in front of him and jumped headfirst into uncertainty, setting the tone for a career built on risk, rebellion, and refusing to play it safe. That single decision changed everything. Instead of sliding into college life, Spader went straight into the grind, and not the glamorous kind. He worked rough physical jobs, teaching yoga, driving trucks, working as a stable boy. No spotlight, no safety net, no bragging rights at all. These were the exact kinds of jobs his prep school peers would never touch, and that contrast sharpened his edge fast. It grounded him, toughened him up, and gave him a real-world perspective most actors never get. By the early 1980s, Spader started landing film roles, and it didn't take long for people to notice that look. The intense stare, the quiet, upper-class confidence, the kind of presence cameras instantly lock onto. The Brat Pack era was heating up, and on paper, Spader fit right in. Right age, right circles, right face. But he never fully joined that club, even as films like Mannequin brushed him close to that glossy mainstream world. Then came 1987, and everything clicked into place. Spader played the smug Vice President Richards in Wall Street, a slick, smarmy symbol of corporate entitlement turned all the way up. Around the same time, he showed up in Pretty in Pink as Steph, the rich prep school antagonist who crushed people emotionally like it was a casual hobby. These roles weren't deeply layered yet, but they locked in a pattern. Spader became the face of privilege with teeth. Charming, cold, and quietly dangerous. You could already feel it. He wasn't meant to play heroes. He was built to live in the gray zones where power, ego, and manipulation collide. Spader was becoming the guy, the one audiences loved to hate. His edge sharpened even more in Less Than Zero, 1987, where he played a drug dealer with a chilling, detached calm that haunted viewers long after the credits rolled. But the real transformation happened in 1989 with Sex, Lies, and Videotape, Steven Soderbergh's breakout indie film that helped ignite the American independent film movement. Spader took on the role of Graham Dalton, an emotionally blocked drifter who can only connect with women by filming them as they talk about their sexual histories. Graham wasn't a simple villain. He was unsettling in a quiet, manipulative way, a deeply voyeuristic character who never had to raise his voice to make an impact. Graham represented a specific brand of masculine dysfunction, the kind that hides behind intelligence and emotional detachment. He's the type of guy who overthinks himself out of any real connection, creating a system that gives him the illusion of intimacy while keeping any genuine emotional risk at arm's length. Spader played it with unnerving precision. His performance was a quiet masterclass, showcasing inner damage with almost zero outward emotion. In many ways, Sex, Lies, and Videotape marked the moment Spader shifted from the privileged, cold antagonist to the kind of character who embodies emotional distance, taking the audience into those uncomfortable gray spaces where humanity's flaws are laid bare. He's soft-spoken, almost gentle, and that calm delivery makes the character's psychological imbalance way more disturbing. Nothing about the performance is loud or flashy, and that's exactly why it gets under your skin. The danger is quiet, controlled, and always simmering just beneath the surface. You feel it even when nothing is being said. That role didn't just get attention, it earned Spader one of the highest acting honors there is, locking him in as a serious critical force at just 29 years old. Overnight, he had real artistic credibility, the kind of actors grind decades trying to earn. But here's the twist. That success didn't push Spader towards safe, shiny stardom. It did the opposite. It validated his instincts. Hollywood finally understood what he was bringing to the table: raw intensity, razor-sharp intelligence, and a fearless dive into moral gray zones that made audiences seriously uncomfortable. The film itself shook American independent cinema to its core. It proved that small, character-driven stories exploring dark psychological spaces could win critics and make money. But for Spader, this moment wasn't about leading a movement, it was permission. Permission to keep choosing roles that unsettled people. Permission to explore the awkward, damaged, hidden corners of human psychology. And from that point on, James Spader leaned all the way in. No safety rails, no compromises, just uncomfortable truth delivered with eerie calm. Most people would rather look away from that kind of discomfort. After Sex, Lies, and Videotape, Spader could have easily pivoted into romantic leads, glossy studio movies, or safe, crowd-pleasing comedies. Hollywood was wide open for him, but once again, he swerved hard in the opposite direction.
Instead of chasing comfort, Spader doubled down on complexity. He actively hunted for roles that explored power, obsession, control, and the masks people wear just to survive. He'd found his lane, and he wasn't letting go of it for anything. In White Palace, 1990, Spader played Max, an emotionally shut-down widower who begins a relationship with an older, working-class waitress. Max isn't slick or dominant. He's stiff, damaged, and painfully repressed. But that's what makes him feel real. Spader peeled back the layers slowly, revealing depth beneath what could have been a flat, forgettable character. You could practically watch him sharpening his craft in real time. By this point, the pattern was locked in. Spader consistently chose psychologically dense roles over commercially easy ones, the unsettling over the reassuring. It became clear early on that he had zero interest in playing the classic good guy with a clean conscience. Instead, James Spader leaned into flawed humanity, men shaped by insecurity, power, and quiet damage. He wasn't here to make audiences comfortable. He was here to make them feel something, even if that feeling stuck with them long after the screen went dark. In 1990, Spader played Michael, a quiet analyst whose life slowly unravels after meeting Alex, a charming drifter with a dangerous edge. And Spader sells that collapse perfectly. You understand exactly why Michael gets pulled in, even as every internal alarm is screaming for him to run. It's not sudden, it's gradual, seductive, and deeply unsettling. Then came Dream Lover in 1993, and the dynamic flipped again. This time, Spader played a man who becomes obsessed with his new wife, only to slowly realize she might be manipulating him. The story digs deep into paranoia, control, and how attraction can rot into possession. His performance walks a razor-thin line between vulnerability and menace, and it never lets the audience get comfortable for even a second. These films gave Spader room to explore identity as performance. His characters constantly shift, manipulator to manipulated, hunter to hunted, sometimes within the same scene. That's what separates his work from standard thrillers. There's always a brain working underneath the behavior. You can see the gears turning, the calculations forming, the self-deception building. The discomfort feels earned, not cheap. And then came Stargate in 1994, his biggest mainstream hit. This was the closest James Spader ever came to full-on Hollywood hero mode, stepping into the role of Dr. Daniel Jackson. Even here, though, He didn't play it loud or macho. He stayed cerebral, awkward, and inward, proving that even when handed a blockbuster, Spader still refused to abandon the traits that made him so uniquely compelling. Daniel Jackson, a brilliant linguist unlocking an interstellar gateway. Spader plays the smartest guy in the room without turning him into a cliché. Standing next to Kurt Russell's rigid military presence, Spader brings curiosity, nerve, and quiet confidence, proving he could handle blockbuster scale without losing his edge or dumbing himself down. What's wild is the energy he brings to Stargate: warmth, curiosity, and a surprising softness you almost never see again in his later work. And here's the twist. Most actors would have taken that momentum and sprinted straight into big-budget studio movies, chasing franchises and easy fame. Spader didn't. He treated Stargate like a side quest, gave blockbuster stardom a polite nod, and walked right back into darker, thornier material without hesitation. The early 1990s were the peak era of erotic thrillers, and Spader quietly became their most compelling player. These weren't prestige projects, they were genre films built to provoke and shock. But Spader injected real psychological weight into every role, turning pulp into something unsettling and smart. Then came David Cronenberg's Crash, which pushed everything to the extreme. In the film, Spader plays a TV director who survives a car accident and gets pulled into a subculture obsessed with automobile crashes. The material is deeply transgressive, no doubt about it. What makes it even more disturbing is how Spader plays it. Cold, clinical, and emotionally detached. No moral lectures, no knowing wink to the audience. Just pure, unsettling observation that dares you to sit with the discomfort and not look away. Just calm observation, and that restraint makes everything feel heavier. No speeches, no winks, no safety rails. As the 90s wound down, Spader stayed busy, popping up in films like Keys to Tulsa, Driftwood, and offbeat pairings like Critical Care and Curtain Call. None of these were huge hits, but together they told a clear story. This was an actor chasing experimentation, not image or box office shine. Then came Secretary in 2002, and this didn't just cap the era, it blew past genre limits completely. Spader plays Edward Gray, a tightly controlled lawyer who enters a consensual, power-based relationship with his secretary, played by Maggie Gyllenhaal. In weaker hands, Gray could have been a flat, one-note villain, cold, creepy, easy to dismiss. But Spader doesn't play it that way, not even close. His performance is all control, restraint, and quiet vulnerability. He balances dominance and emotional fragility without ever turning the character into a cartoon. That's why the film works. It becomes a genuinely subversive love story instead of shock for shock's sake. By this point, the pattern was fully locked in. These films cemented James Spader as cinema's go-to explorer of erotic power dynamics, obsession, and psychological tension. He wasn't chasing comfort or approval. He was digging into the stuff most actors avoid. And he did it with surgical precision, calm energy, and zero fear of making audiences uncomfortable. Let's rewind for a second to Wolf, 1994, where Spader plays Richard, an ambitious, ruthless corporate climber squaring off against Jack Nicholson's Will Randall. Spader absolutely nails the backstabbing protege role, wrapping corporate cruelty in a polished smile that makes Nicholson's darker transformation feel almost unavoidable. He's cold, strategic, and quietly vicious, the perfect embodiment of ambition with zero soul. Then, in 2003, Spader made a massive pivot straight into television. He joined The Practice in its 8th season as Alan Shore, a brilliant and morally flexible attorney who treats the law like a high-stakes chess match played entirely with words. The character hit so hard that creator David Kelly spun him off into a brand new series, Boston Legal, built almost entirely around Shore's chaotic energy.
Alan Shore doesn't defend clients based on right or wrong. He picks cases because they interest him. He weaponizes language, talking his way into and out of impossible situations using razor-sharp wit, pressure, and perfectly timed provocation. Every courtroom speech feels like performance art with consequences. But here's the real hook. Alan Shore is always performing. Beneath the swagger and arrogance sits deep loneliness and a desperate need for someone to see past the act. That's where his bond with Denny Crane, played by William Shatner, becomes the emotional heart of Boston Legal. Two damaged men hiding behind bravado, two egos clashing and clicking at the same time. And somehow, in the middle of all the jokes and chaos, they find the one place where they can actually be honest with each other. And that's what made the show unforgettable. The show proved something crucial. James Spader could be a commercial hit without sanding down his weird, sharp edges. He didn't have to soften or simplify himself to win a mass audience. Then, in 2013, Spader stepped into the role that would define the next decade of his career, Raymond Reddington on NBC's The Blacklist. Red is a former government agent turned elite criminal who voluntarily surrenders to the FBI, offering to help take down the world's most dangerous figures from his personal blacklist. It's a wild setup, and Spader owns every second of it. Reddington is easily Spader's most network-friendly character, built for mainstream television, but at the core, he's still pure Spader. What makes the performance so impressive is how he handles the material. He turns heavy exposition into pure entertainment. Red delivers massive chunks of plot, names, timelines, conspiracies, and somehow makes them feel playful and hypnotic. Spader's secret weapon is his voice. The rhythm, the pauses, the unexpected emphasis, every line feels chosen. He savors each word like it matters, and suddenly it does. You hang on every syllable, even when he's explaining something that should be boring on paper. The Blacklist ran for 10 full seasons, crossing 200 episodes, making it James Spader's longest-running role and easily his most recognizable to date. That's a serious run by any standard, and it locked him into pop culture without ever watering him down or compromising what makes him so uniquely compelling. If James Spader feels mysterious on screen, he's even more elusive off it. He gives very few interviews, and when he does, they're strangely revealing, not because of what he says, but how he doesn't say it. He dodges personal questions almost completely, and when asked about his career or acting choices, he answers in abstract loops, circling ideas instead of landing them. Somehow, that only makes him feel more on brand. For Spader, characters aren't built on emotion alone, they're engineered. He's described his acting process like breaking down a system piece by piece, methodical and precise, hunting for the mechanism that makes a character function. There's no romantic myth-making here, no tortured artist routine, just careful construction and total control. That's exactly why his performances always feel intentional, measured, and quietly dangerous. He's been married twice and has 3 sons, but beyond that, the details stay locked tight. He lives in New York, not Los Angeles, and that choice alone says a lot. Spader has openly said he needs solitude, that Hollywood's constant social energy drains him fast. He's not built for endless rooms, handshakes, and small talk. There's a strong sense that acting is his workaround, his way of engaging with people without fully stepping into the spotlight. He connects through characters, not cocktail parties. And that distance, that control, that's not accidental. It's part of the design, and it's exactly what keeps James Spader so compelling. Acting has always allowed James Spader to explore emotion, power, and psychology while keeping just enough distance between himself and the characters he plays. What's most striking is how consistent his choices have been over more than 40 years. He's never taken the predictable route. Even when he stepped into blockbuster territory, he did it on his own terms. In 2015, Spader voiced Ultron in Avengers: Age of Ultron, a massive franchise villain role that seemed worlds apart from his usual work. But make no mistake, he didn't phone it in. Spader performed in a motion capture suit,
bringing the character physical presence and infusing Ultron with his trademark unsettling charm. Instead of the typical generic CGI villain, Ultron became darkly witty, coldly intelligent, and genuinely threatening. And that voice alone carried layers of menace that were unmistakably Spader. Now, in his 60s, Spader has accomplished something rare in Hollywood, a career shaped entirely on his own terms. He was never the traditional leading man, never chasing fame or the stereotypical Hollywood stardom, and yet his body of work stands out as completely singular. Even in smaller, late career roles, like his brief but memorable turn as W in Lincoln or Bilbo in The Blacklist, Spader continues to leave an undeniable mark. There's no one quite like him, and no one who's managed to remain so uniquely himself while navigating the shifting tides of Hollywood for so long. He brought that slippery, calculating Spader energy even to a historical figure, and no matter the role, he always remains unmistakably himself. Across more than 40 years, James Spader has stayed obsessed with one core idea: power. How it's gained, how it's performed, how it corrupts, and how it quietly binds people together. His characters almost always manipulate in some way, but here's the difference: Spader never judges them. Instead, he digs deeper, searching for the human wound underneath the behavior, the insecurity, the hunger, the need that drives every calculated move. That's where his real interest lives. He's endlessly fascinated by identity as something constructed, the masks people wear, the roles they play just to survive another day. His characters don't just exist, they perform themselves, shaping who they are moment by moment, depending on the room they're in.
What makes Spader's career so remarkable isn't only the strength of individual performances, though many of them are unforgettable. It's the quiet influence he's had on modern film and television. He helped carve out space for a new kind of character, the complex anti-hero, the articulate manipulator, the charming predator who's still recognizably human. That DNA shows up everywhere now. Characters like Walter White, Don Draper, and many others owe something to the territory Spader helped map out. He didn't just play morally complicated men, he made audiences comfortable sitting with them. And that shift changed the way stories are told on screen. James Spader made audiences comfortable sitting inside discomfort, forcing us to see humanity in places we'd usually rather avoid. And as for what's next, Spader hasn't said much at all, which honestly feels exactly right. That silence, that consistency, that refusal to bend or soften his edge is its own kind of integrity. Decade after decade, he's never chased trends, never smoothed himself out, never played the easy version of the game. And that's exactly what keeps James Spader endlessly fascinating, sharper, stranger, and completely himself. This has been Velvet Screen Secrets. Which James Spader role hit you the hardest? Which performance stayed with you the longest? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button if you felt something real. Share this with someone who loves complex characters. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that live in cinema's gray areas.